Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be looking at the band Immortal. Now, I'm not familiar with the band, so as usual I tried to do a little bit of research and I found bugger all. I spent ages trying to find information about this band. I found loads of reviews about the band, but actually trying to find information about the band was near impossible. The only pieces of information I can find to tell you is Immortal are a tech metal band based in London, UK. That's all I can tell you. Now, I think from, like scraping around across the internet, I think they've released 2 singles and 3 EPs, Act 1 Rebirth, Act 2 Gold, and Act 3 Water. And all of these EPs are between 3 to 4 tracks. So, they've not exactly released a vast amount of material, but they've released some. But like I said, that's all I can tell you about the band. It was impossible to find anything about them. Now today we're going to be looking at the track Water, which comes off the 3rd EP, Water. I have lyrics here. They come from directly underneath the video, so they should, in theory, be accurate. So, yeah, let's just jump into this and see what we've got. So, this is Water by Immortal. Let's have a look. Well, there we go. That was Water by Exist Immortal. Now, in what I found, it said they were tech metal. I don't think I would have classified that as metal, to be honest. You know, nothing against them. You know, it was still a good piece of music. And, you know, very able musicians and very able vocalists. But I don't think I'd class that as metal. That's more sort of hard rock for me than metal. But, yeah. Interesting. It was a good piece of music. Just trying to think, though. I mean, it just seemed a little bit unnecessarily fiddly. You know, it's almost like those. It's almost like that prog music that's like fret wanky. You know, where people are making a whole bunch of noisy riffs on the guitar, and it doesn't really add any substance to the music. You know, it's just a whole bunch of extra unnecessary notes just to say, look what I can do. But obviously, they're all very, very talented musicians. There's no denying that. The vocalist has got a great voice. And what I have to say is, through my headphones, the mixing sounded a little bit weird. You know, it was like all of the instruments were fighting for dominance. And, you know, the actual vocals I actually felt were pushed a little bit far back. You know, and the music kind of drowned out the lyrics at certain times. So, you know, I mean, it was a decent piece of music. You know, I'd happily listen to it again. Would I go out and buy it myself? I'm not entirely sure. I would have to investigate some of their previous material. But like I said, you know, it's not a terrible piece of music, you know. But it just feels unnecessarily complex. You know, I know, you know, tech metal, you know, it's supposed to be technical and, you know, fiddly and like that. But there are some times when it's overdone. You know, there's no need for it to be that fiddly. It is literally just showing off, you know, at a certain point. So, I don't know. I'm very torn with that piece of music because, like I said, you know, it's well executed, but something about it just doesn't really sit well with me, and I'm not sure what it is. Felt kind of poppy, felt kind of rocky, so I wouldn't necessarily say it was metal. And I don't know. Anyway, let's have a look at the lyrics. It says, frightened of a world inside, read between these tired eyes, hiding from the chaos of living in a lie. Time and again we're falling under, in waves of misery I surrender. So hold me under tonight, let water fill my lungs and show me paradise. Paradise is pouring through your mind, through your mind. Whoa. Hold me up to the light. Let water give me strength to realise it's always worth the fight to fix from the inside. So, you know, there's that line at the beginning, hiding from the chaos of living in a lie. It says, in waves of misery I surrender. So, I'm not entirely sure where this is going. You know, hiding from the chaos of living in a lie, and in waves of misery I surrender. So, this is someone who seems to be struggling, you know, struggling with, you know, problems internally, you know, frightened of a world inside, and hiding from the chaos of living a lie. Isn't it possibly someone who has, you know, who struggles with their identity, struggles with who they are? Are they struggling with mental health issues? Possibly, I don't know. And, you know, there's that bit of the chorus there. So, hold me under tonight, let water fill my lungs and show me paradise. paradise is pouring through your mind. Give me the strength to realise it's always worth the fight to fix from inside. You might have internal struggles, but it's always worth fighting, those struggles to come out as a better person. I'm not entirely sure. Don't know. Anyway, when will we know why this ocean is so dark? Again, that could be talking about, internal struggles, not knowing who you are inside, inside you, it's not knowing yourself, all you see is darkness inside yourself because you haven't quite figured out who you are. Again, could be a suggestion of maybe mental health, depression problems. I'm not sure. It definitely seems to suggest an internal struggle of some kind, not knowing yourself. I can't find a way through these waves. Again, struggling against the tide. It feels maybe like you're fighting a losing battle. Again, could possibly suggest mental health. I'm not sure. Then goes back into that chorus. So hold me under tonight, let the water fill my lungs and show me paradise. Paradise is pouring through your mind, Hold me up to the light, let water give me strength here to realise it's always worth the fight to fix from inside. I feel I'm round the bend. I'ma be making hell of a scene. I hate that line right there. I'ma be making hell of a scene. Not, I'm going to be making a hell of a scene. I'ma be making hell of a scene. Anyway, he said, first line there, I feel I'm round the bend, or round a bend. So it feels like I'm going crazy again. Could be suggestive of mental health problems. But I've been down and I've been right again. That could be suggestive of things like bipolar. I've been down and I've been right again. My mood goes down, my mood goes up. I have been in massive fits of depression, and then within moments, I've been happy, cheery, laughing, etc. And again, it says, I'ma be making hell of a scene. Can you feel my hope when I'm not as loud? Can you see my shame when you're in the crowd? Please give me something to feel when I'm down, down, down. So there again, can you feel my hope when I'm not as loud? So when I'm quiet, when I'm introverted and sort of folded in on myself, can you feel how hopeful I am that I'm going to get through this, that I'm going to fight through this, that I'm actually going to become something better? And, can you feel the fact that I am fighting against whatever it is that I'm struggling with? And then goes back in. He goes, hold me under the tide. Let my water fill with lungs tonight. I want to feel something realised. Another life. And then back into the chorus. So hold me up to the light. Let water leave my lungs. Oh, it's a variation of the chorus, should I say. It says, so hold me up to the light. Let water leave my lungs and enter paradise. Paradise is pouring through your mind. Hold me up to the light. The water gave me strength here to realise it's always worth the fight to fix from the inside. So, it does sound like it's about some inner turmoil, possibly talking about mental health issues, etc. Because he's always talking about, having the strength to fight from the inside. And, he's saying, I'm round a bend. Can you see me when I'm struggling, etc. So I like what he's saying. I like what he's talking about, if I'm reading it right. There's just something about that song that doesn't sit well with me, and I don't hate it. I'd happily listen to it again. It just doesn't grab me. There's nothing there that sort of excites me about it. A lot of it feels unnecessary. But the performances were good. Clearly talented musicians, clearly a talented vocalist. But I don't know, something about it just feels a little bit off for me, at least. That's my personal opinion. But I don't know what else I can say without repeating myself, so I'll leave that as it is. And if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to them, please do so. By all means, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would of course be a massive help to me, since every piece of content I create for this channel gets immediately demonetized the moment it hits the internet, which is a little bit frustrating, but you know, it is what it is. I am using, you know, copyrighted material, and it's only fair that the artist gets you know, recompense for the fact that I am judging, not judging, I am commenting and critiquing their material. The fact that they get all of it is a little bit galling, considering how much time and effort I put into it, and I see absolutely nothing, so, you know, that's a bit frustrating, but, you know. There is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue if you should so desire it. There's a limit on how frequently you can do that, though. That's limited to once per month, and that's just to be fair to other people who suggest tracks through more regular means such as YouTube, Facebook and Instagram comments. And if you do suggest a track through those more regular means, do know it could take me a while to get to your suggestions, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it, unfortunately. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes, and one of the major facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative community, which is something I believe in very, very strongly, but it's something that's widely ignored. You know, it sort of gets brushed under the carpet and treated like it's no big deal. And, you know, we're not just talking about abuse of the alternative community and the fact of, you know, people shouting insults at you from across the street, or, you know, getting a shoulder ram as you walk down the road. We're talking about real violent crimes where people are getting brutally and violently assaulted just over something as simple as their taste in music. Excuse me. You know, and this sort of thing, it goes on every day all around the world, and nothing ever gets said about it. You know, every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear about these every single day, in every facet of the media, from the most violent and heinous of these crimes where someone is murdered for the colour of their skin, their religious beliefs, their sexual identity, etc., down to the most petty of these, where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. You know, we hear every facet of these every single day, but as soon as it comes to somebody from the alternative community getting violently assaulted, we hear nothing. And the last time there was widespread talk about this sort of thing was 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally assaulted by a group of about 5 or 6 people who beat them, kicked them, punched them, knocked them to the ground, and stamped on their heads so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, thankfully, he survived the assault. He was in a coma for about a week and a half, maybe a bit longer. Can't remember exactly, but he did thankfully survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, she was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to head injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death just because of her taste in music and clothing. Now, when this happened, this was all over the news, as rightfully it should have been. But over time, you know, it sort of faded into the background, as all news stories do, which is fair enough. But in the 14 years since that's happened, we've not heard a single thing similar in the news. Yet there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of similar incidents in that time. The only major difference is no one has died. And that is the most sickening part of it. You know, we shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before this sort of thing gets spoken about. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something gets done about this. But as it is, these sort of situations sort of get brushed under the carpet. People think it's no big deal. A couple of years ago, a young woman in Glasgow, Scotland, violently and brutally assaulted twice on the same night by the same group of people. Again, about 5 or 6 people violently assaulted this young woman. Again, she was about 20, 21 years old. She was violently assaulted twice twice on the same night. Nothing was mentioned. No, this wasn't on the news. This wasn't in the newspapers. This wasn't all over social media. Nothing was said. Nothing was done. No reports on this anywhere. Now, if this had been racially motivated, if it had been homophobically motivated, if it had been, anything else, this would have been all over the news. Not a problem. But no, this was a young woman of the alternative community, violently and brutally assaulted twice on the same night. Not a damn word. Now, if this young woman had died as a result of these assaults, you can guarantee this would have been all over the news. People would have been crying, saying what a tragedy it is. How can we let this sort of thing happen? Something needs to be done. But that's the thing. They will only pay attention to this when the worst scenario happens. And we shouldn't have to wait that long. Every day we hear about these millions and millions of entitled white people who are calling the police because an Asian person is walking down the street of a cul-de-sac that they think should be exclusively white people, or a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space and some entitled Karen doesn't think that they should be there because of whatever reason. These are still bad things that happen. But someone getting beaten to within an inch of their life, I think, takes priority over some white woman just being overtly racist. I'm not saying racism is less important, but these tiny little piddly crimes, which are, they're still bad, but, nothing really severe is happening. Compared to someone getting beaten half to death. I think someone getting beaten half to death is a more important thing to talk about. And, that's something that really needs to have something done about it, because all of these things are bad things to happen. But with people from the alternative community sort of getting brushed aside, we're getting ignored. And by doing this, you're making the people who commit these crimes think that they can get away with it because they're not going to face any consequences. This isn't going to come back to them. And if we carry on ignoring it like we are doing, it's only a matter of time before what happened to Sophie Lancaster happens again. And we cannot allow that to happen. Sophie Lancaster is not the first person to lose their life just because they listen to alternative music. And if we keep ignoring it, she's not going to be the last. So something needs to be done. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this sort of thing is happening. And, they want more people to realise that it is a much bigger problem than people think it is. Because they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks because of the small-minded actions of a group of people who couldn't handle the fact that someone liked something different to them. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it be a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, maybe even that one, they've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff going on over there. The smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we get more people realising what a big problem this really is, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred and intolerance everywhere. But leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.